All right, it was time that I opened up my eyeshadow drawers and went on a walk down memory lane. We are going to be doing a would I repurchase video today. I'm really excited to do this. I think that this is a great way to just sort of look back on purchases that I've made, eyeshadow palettes that I've gotten. I believe that most of these are still available today, so I just kind of went in and honestly did like a random picking. I chose out 7 to talk to you about today, just so that I could keep this video somewhat short. I tend to go on in my musings on eyeshadow, whether it's a rant or it's a rave, they tend to be lengthy. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. But without further ado, we're gonna get into this right now. Like I said, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on whether I would repurchase these, how I felt after using these. I believe I've had all of these for a good clip. So this is sort of like an anti-first impressions, right? This is like impressions way down the line, and I can't wait to share these with you. So let's start with the one that I have stacked on top here from doing my thumbnail. And this is the Dose of Colors Baked Brown. So this is a cute little 5-pan, and it is all matte. Try not to blind you here. It does have that beautiful shiny inner packaging that I have not dusted or cleaned. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you actually like go through and clean up your eyeshadow palettes, or are you like me and you just leave them in chaos? The only ones that get, you know, a good wipe down are the ones that I use in my makeup kit, because obviously I have to sanitize them and clean them in between. But yeah, the rest of it is just pandemonium. So this one is well loved. I don't reach for it as much as I probably should because I do really love it. I just think that this little set of mattes, first of all, they perform beautifully, and it's just such a gorgeous set of browns that have that little bit of pinky red that I just find really brings out my eye color. So these I reach for a lot when, you know, maybe I have a shimmer shade that I'm wanting to use. It could be a liquid shadow, cream shadow, or maybe it's, you know, one of my fun little indie singles and I'm like, okay, I need something to like balance it out. This is a great one to grab for. It's also great when I feel like the mattes in a palette just aren't hitting me right. You know, it's like, oh, I want something that's like maybe a little bit warmer, or oh, that just doesn't have enough depth. This is one that's so small that I can just like pull it out and it's really quick and easy to like pack in a bag. It doesn't take up a lot more room, and I love this one. I have to say, I really do like the Dose of Colors matte formula. I have another 5-pan, but I would definitely consider getting more of them. I just think that I love the size of this, and it's nice to have as a companion palette for others. Okay, so definitely a repurchase. I believe I got that one in BoxyCharm though, so I didn't like straight out buy it, but if I lost it, honestly, I don't even know if it's available anymore, but this specific color story, if it was out of my collection, I would consider repurchasing just because I do really like it. Okay, so another smaller palette. This is actually from Wayne Goss. This is a 6-pan, and it is the Luxury Eye Palette in Pearl. Okay, so you all know that I love Wayne Goss, and I actually really do like his eyeshadow formula. However, if now I was given an opportunity to like do a do-over, I probably wouldn't get this palette. And not because it isn't good quality, but because the color story just isn't something that I lean towards a lot. I don't wear a ton of cool tones. I just sort of, honestly, I think I fell into the hype of, ooh, a new Wayne Goss palette, I'm gonna buy it. And I think this might have been the second one that came out. I still love and use my Topaz palette. That was the original one that came out, the Imperial Topaz. This one is nice. It's just like, It does have one of these like, you know, topper shimmery things that I don't really reach for all that much. So really, I'm primarily using these shades. Now, you might be a little bit confused because I do have this one in my spring eyeshadow palettes picks for this season. And that's because it is a nice palette. It is a nice palette. It's just not a color story that I reach for. And I definitely realized that in having this sitting out on my vanity for the season since I talked about it in that video. But where I have found that it's going to have a place in my collection is in my makeup artistry kit. And that's because these cool tones are very lovely and they really apply beautifully. So having this in my kit means that when I'm reaching for those cool tones, I will have something to use on my clients. And really the only other cooler toned palette that I lean into is the Natasha Denona Glam palette. However, there is just something about Natasha Denona mattes that they just stick to the skin a little bit more. You have to work with them a little bit more. And I find especially on aging eyelids, there's something about the formula that can just skip a little bit on lid skin that isn't very taut. And of course, we all know that that's something that's a big platform for Wayne, is having a product that will work for makeup wearers of any age, any skin type. And I do think that that's where this really is beautiful, because I've found just in using my Glam palette on clients, it's like sometimes those shades just stick. And I'm sure it's like the creamy mattes, the cream to powder, like they just have a little bit more stick-to-itiveness, if you will. So I'm definitely going to enjoy having a softer side, a more buildable, blendable product. I mean, Natasha Denona mattes are beautiful, obviously. I've just found that on several of my clients, when I go in, I'm like, oh, okay, we gotta work to blend that out a little bit more. Honestly, that discovery for me was really a shock, because I do really like Natasha's formulas when it does come to her mattes, but I do just find that this is more user-friendly. And sometimes, especially like if it's something where I'm really having to like go quick, this is just gonna do that for me. So kind of like some mixed thoughts there, I guess. So would I repurchase this? No. Is it going to get use? Yes. All right, let's hop into a little indie action. Here is the Glamshop Nude palette. This was the Total Shimmer palette. So you have, let's see, 8, 12, you have 12 shadows that are all nudes, or kind of nudes. So as you can see here, you have, you know, some gray taupey shades. You have, I mean, I wouldn't call this a copper, I would call this a straight up orange, but you do have some warmer nudes, and then the champagnes, there's a rose gold. So you have quite the variety here. When I got this, I was like, yeah, I'm totally gonna use this all the time. I don't know if it's that it's an indie single brand that I have a shadow palette from that I just don't think of a lot, but I do have some other Glamshop like 9 pans that I do think of more and use more. So there's just something about this that I just don't reach for it that much. And I think when I was doing my palette declutter, I actually had both the matte and the shimmer. And I think I decluttered the matte one because I was like, I'm just not using this that much. I'm not grabbing for it at all. And I find that the same thing is happening with this one. So I've thought about taking these pans out and putting them into my Glamshop singles. But I honestly know that like shades like this just don't get a ton of use in my collection. So then I'm like, well, maybe I should just like pop this one up on Mercari, because I'm sure that there's going to be somebody who maybe hasn't had a chance to even try the Glamshop formula that would really enjoy it. I just find that this is just something that I'm not reaching for, and that's probably because I have shades in my singles, including even in my Glamshop singles, that sort of like go towards the ones in this palette that I'm going to be more drawn to. And of course, I have several orangey coppers in my collection. So as I'm sitting here, I do think that this is one, when I get my ish together, I might put it up on Mercari, because I'm just not reaching for it. And looking back now, I wish that I hadn't given in, because I'm sure I paid a pretty penny between, you know, shipping and all of that stuff. I'm sure that I paid good money for this palette, and it's just not getting love for me. So it isn't one that I would repurchase. All right, now speaking of Natasha, let's talk about Retro. I was so excited when this came out, because this is it's totally my color story. Like, you have these beautiful berries, mauves, you have a couple warmer shades. So I was very excited to get this one in my hands. I ordered it, I think on launch day. I did a review on it. I did really like the looks that I came up with. However, now, what has it been? At least a year now? I think that I probably should have held off. I should have looked in my drawers to see what I have, because I really do have color stories that lean similar into this. And while there are shades in here that I really love, there are also shades that I just don't use a lot, whether it's because I don't reach for those tones, or it's the fact that I just don't like the performance of it. Like these more like gray-y shades, I don't really wear a lot of. So they are virtually untouched. I think I did use them in my video because I was like, okay, I want to try to use like all these shades. They're pretty. They're just ones that I don't lean into a lot of. And while I really love Natasha's matte formulas, like I was saying, I do think you have to be a bit more careful with that. Is it the creamy matte or the cream to powder? Whichever the more creamy one is. I don't understand these things. I wish that they were denoted right in the palette. But anyway, those ones I find you can like start spreading and spreading and spreading, and sometimes they just don't blur out the way that I would like them to. But it's the shimmers for me that just always leave a little bit to be desired, because I want like ba-bam. Usually when I'm doing look with some shimmer, I want like kick in the pants. And I've talked about this before. I just wish the shimmer formula was a little bit more shimmy. I know that that's not everybody's aesthetic. I know that it's not. I just went from, in my makeup life, from really loving, enjoying, and coveting my Natasha Denona and really enjoying the formulas to like wanting a little more, to just, you know, give it to me. So I just feel like I've tried so many other shimmer formulas now that it's like, no, I really like the Babam, and that's just my aesthetic. So this is a pretty color story. I might even feel a little bit differently if it wasn't quite so monochromatic, or like, I mean, obviously it's not technically monochromatic because you do have a little bit warmer, you have a little bit cooler, you have those grays, but I just need like 2 or 3 of these pans to have like a different color in it. Like, I don't know, like what do we think would be good in here? Maybe like something like a dusky gray green would be kind of cool. I don't know. There's just something. There's something that I need in here that it's just not giving me after having it for a while. That being said, I do like the looks that I get out of this one. I don't know. If I had cooled my jets and taken the time to look through my collection and see what I have, would I have gotten this? I'm not sure. So would I repurchase it? I wish that I hadn't paid full price. I'm pretty darn sure I paid full price for this because I don't think it launched around the time of a sale. Choices. I mean, first of all, it's not like if I say no, it's not like someone's going to come rip this out of my hands. But maybe what I should be doing, what I should have done is before pulling out these palettes is use them all once or twice to like really be able to. Hello. I would say editing Kelly here, but I'm obviously not. I'm car driving Kelly. But, you know, I was talking about in this video how I should have tried out the palettes before I gave my final thoughts. So today I did decide to use the Retro palette, and I do like this look. You know, this morning when I sat down, I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go with it. I just wanted something, you know, a little like smoky and kind of berry plummy, and I got there, but I was like, okay, I don't necessarily want to do any of these as my lid shades. There are the lighter pinks, and then there is that, it's actually the one that I ended up putting on, that Helio shade. And it's just like, there's something missing. There's something missing in this palette for me now, but I like the look that I got. So I think that my final thoughts on this one are that I'm glad to have it. I wish that I'd gotten it on sale. Do I recommend it? Yes. If you think that the color story in here is for you, then yeah, go for it. I just know that for me, I might pull out, like, let's say my companion palette or a couple shades to just really get whatever it is, that je ne sais quoi that this palette doesn't have for me. But everything performed beautifully. You know, I mean, it is definitely that quality that if you enjoy Natasha Denona formulas, you're really gonna like this one. I just wish that I had waited for a sale. All right, this is the one palette in this collection that I did not purchase. This was actually sent to me in PR, and this is from Gourmand Girls. This is the Spooked palette. I did do a video on this one, and here she is. I mean, this is just so fun. And the thing about this, and I said it in that video, is while you can definitely get some like spooky season vibes looks, you can also get some really nice looks that don't have to be associated with, you know, that time of year. And there are just some things that I really love about this. First of all, there's something about the slim, sleek, longer packaging that I just really like. Like, it's easy to hold in your hand. I don't know what it is. I just really like it. It's not so heavy that if I were to hold it like this, that I couldn't do that and put my makeup on. There's just something about this that I really like. Of course, this was in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny, so maybe that's part of it. You know, just this. I just really like this. So now, that being said, I don't think that there are any colors in here that are necessarily, oh my gosh, can't find them anywhere else. There definitely isn't. I think it's a fun collection of shades. I think it's really nice because you can get a wide variety of looks out of this. Just because you have, of course, the oranges, the greens, the purples that we associate with like Halloween. You have a really nice black, and then you have these other neutrally shades that still have some flavor to them. Like the shade Scream is this beautiful kind of like yummy grungy olive shade. Of course, Trick and Pumpkin are beautiful like duochromes. I really like this palette. So if Christina hadn't been nice enough to offer to send this my way, I probably was going to buy this palette. if I did buy the palette, I don't think I would have had regrets. It doesn't get as much love in my collection as it should, but I would definitely repurchase because I just have a lot of fun with this one. And again, I just think it is just the perfect little size. I really enjoy this one and I'm glad to have it in my collection. All right, same shape, very different price point. Let's talk about a Mothership. So I pulled out my Mothership II Sublime palette. As you can see, you can probably tell from the pans, this has not gotten a lot of love. I have not used this one a lot. I think I've maybe used it 2 or 3 times. I have to say, I got this during the glitch sale. I think I got a trio when, you know, there were like 3 Motherships that you could get, and I got it at like a super, super great price. So price per palette was pretty low. I definitely would not repurchase this at full price. I would not even purchase this at 20% off. There's just not enough that's unique about this. It is nice quality. It is nice quality, but it is not unique. I, of course, love the mattes. For me, it is Pat's mattes. And I know everybody like oohs and ahs over her special formulas. I just don't know if I haven't like played with enough of the palettes that have special formulas, but there's just something about her mattes that are just so beautiful, blendable, high quality. If she had an all matte palette come out, I would buy that. I would totally buy that. But there's just something like, you know, these 2 shades here are nice, but absolutely run of the mill. Totally just run of the mill. And of course, this shade right here, this beautiful like green into blurple is very pretty. And of course, these shades right here are fun to use. They're sparkly, but I feel like I have dupes for both of those. So this is one that, I mean, I'm glad I got it at like super, super deal. Would I repurchase it at full price? No. Would I repurchase it at 20% off? No. I do think I got this at least half off. It was probably less than that. I honestly don't even remember, but I'm glad to have it in my collection. If I could swap it out for another color story, I might, just because this one, I mean, it's obviously not getting utilized in my collection enough, but maybe I need to pull it out. This for me isn't gonna be a color story that I grab for this time of the year, but I'll definitely in the fall need to pull this one back out and see my thoughts. But as of right now, I would repurchase it again at the price that I got it, but not at any other price. That's not a straight answer, sorry. All right, last palette for today, and this is another one that I will definitely be pulling out more again once fall arrives, and it's the Nomad Hudson Valley palette. I'm just gonna say it right off the bat. Obviously, I would totally repurchase this palette. This is just such a wonderful color story. Honestly, I might even pull this out this summer. Like this little action right here, I could definitely see using. So if you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen this one, I mean, it was the indie makeup fall, like it girl of the moment. And there's a reason why. I mean, look at this color story. It is perfect. I do think that where the magic lies in this palette is in the mattes, and that's how I feel about almost all of Nomad's palettes. The color story is gorgeous, and it's the matte. So it's the color story and the mattes and the packaging and the fact that the brand is super nice. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Now, the shimmers in this palette are nice. There is only 3 of them. I just feel like it's not the superstar of this palette. It's the tones, the beautiful blendability and buildability of the mattes in this gorgeous color story that really makes this palette worth it. And so with there being only 3 shimmers, I usually do find myself pulling out a shimmer from another palette to either accentuate or to pop on the inner corner or give a little bit more dimension, but I would definitely repurchase this hands down. I did purchase this palette, by the way. I have since been added to Nomad's PR list, but this one came out of my own wallet and I would gladly give the money over again if I needed to. All right, lovelies, I hope you enjoyed this little peek into my eyeshadow palette collection as much as I did. I think it's really fun to just look back and see, you know, sometimes it's makeup preferences that have changed. Sometimes something has come along since then that sort of like boots one out of your favorites list. I don't know what the heck's going on outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it sounds like they're bowling with like metal pipes or something. It's ridiculous, but that's all right because I'm gonna be heading out right now. But if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a like down below and I will see you really soon.